Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Main Event DFS. My name is Adam Cohn. I am your host. I am an NFL DFS analyst and content provider here with Main Event DFS. This is my early first look podcast for the FanDuel main 13-game slate for Week 1 for NFL in the 2021 season. A little bit about me here. If you're not familiar with some of my work, I am the host of the CSGO Clutch podcast on YouTube, and I post those links every day when they are posted, when I drop a podcast with my co-host Dan Welch and I in the CSGO Discord channel here at Main Event DFS. You can find all the CSGO work, and I'm going to be providing my NFL DFS analyst here for Main Event DFS as well. I'm so excited to be bringing you this content, and this is my early first look at the FanDuel 13-game main slate. We are taking a look at the $3.5 million prize pool NFL Sunday Million with $1 million to first place. It is a $3 entry fee. This is an early first look podcast. We are about 2 weeks away from the start of the regular season, and it's an early first look podcast. Did not get this out as early as I wanted to. We've had a lot of news been breaking already in camp, a lot more still to digest and analyze. We're still waiting on a starter situation for San Francisco. We just got the New Orleans starter name. We're still waiting on the New England starter to be named for quarterback. So we will see those quarterback battles, because that can change a lot. For example, if Trey Lance gets named as the starter for Week 1 against Detroit, I'm going overweight on Trey Lance. He's too cheap. We'll get there. But let's just get into this to start. 13-game main slate here on FanDuel. I want to go over, first of all, some of the main differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. And was doing a little bit of research here and going back and forth. I found this website, LegalSportsReport.com. Shout out to them. So, they say, quote, scoring and roster requirements are similar on FanDuel and DraftKings, but there are two big differences to keep in mind. First, FanDuel awards a half a point per reception, while DraftKings awards a point. So this can add up quite a bit, but it also changes the strategic approach to playing on both sites. In addition, DraftKings awards the aforementioned scoring bonuses for milestones, while FanDuel doesn't. So there are scoring bonuses on FanDuel, for example, as a 300-yard passing, 100-plus yard rushing bonus. Like, those bonuses do add up and adds while FanDuel doesn't, end quote. All right, now let's break that down a bit. The DraftKings awards things like 300 passing yard plus bonus, 100 plus rushing yard bonus. Those add a different strategic element into like 100 plus receiving yard bonus, I believe. There's different strategic elements to playing on DraftKings. When you think about, hey, I'll play X player, well, does anyone have a chance of the bonus? Those bonus points add up, especially if you want to take down a large field GPP. With that being said, though, FanDuel makes things a little bit easier. It's only a half a point per reception, and there are no receiving milestones for that. So keep that in mind. There's no bonuses on FanDuel. There are bonuses on DraftKings. Now, with that in mind, let's take a look at the slate. This is my first time taking a look at FanDuel pricing, everybody. So you're going to get my unfiltered thoughts, no time to prep type of deal. I don't have anything prepped. You're going to get my unfiltered thoughts on pricing on this slate. So I'm going to go, instead of game by game, I'm going to go position by position. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, flex, and defense. Again, shout out to Legal Sports Report, I believe is the name of the website. Check them out. Check this out if you're interested on the scoring differences. But definitely check these guys out. And this article was updated on April 23 of 2021. So, again, shout out to them. That quote on the differences directly from LegalSportsReport.com. Giving credit where credit is due, so quote-unquote, those things there were from them. All right, so now that we get that out of the way with, let's go position by position, start with the quarterback position. Patrick Mahomes against Cleveland. No. I have a lot of respect for the Cleveland defense. Absolutely not. 8,800 is a massive ask. Kyler against Tennessee. I like that, if you can make it work. Tennessee's secondary still is bad. All right, so let's just keep going, and I'll see if anything. I'm not going to go player by player. I'm going to take a look and see what we got here. Allen against Pittsburgh, no. Rodgers against New Orleans, maybe. I still have respect for the New Orleans defense as a top 10 defense, maybe even top 15. Wilson against Indy, no. Tannehill against Arizona. I got interest in that game as well, so I got interest in both quarterbacks on that game. I don't mind a game stack of that game. Herbert against Washington. Not against that defense. Jalen Hurts at Atlanta. If Jalen Hurts is still the starting quarterback for Philly, I have interest in Jalen Hurts at 7,600 versus the bottom 5 Atlanta Falcons defense. Deshaun Watson, 7,500. I like that price tag for him, but again, he's most likely not going to be the starter right now. So they still want to trade him. Watson still is probably going to sit out. So, with that being said, Tyrod Taylor is going to be the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans against Jacksonville. We'll get there in a minute. I want to see what his price is. But the rumors that I've been hearing is Deshaun Watson to Philadelphia. Now look, if we get Deshaun Watson to Philadelphia, that muddies this entire situation. Is Watson the backup until it's the playbook? Is he the immediate starter? Is Jalen Hurts a starter? Do they play different games? That might just take me off the guys unless we have a definitive what's going on type of deal. I don't know if Watson gets moved at this point, and there's still legal issues pending. There's a good chance he could be put in the commissioner's exempt list, most likely, or whatever list they want to put him on until their NFL's investigation is done of that stuff. So keep that in mind. Matt Ryan at 7,300. I'm okay with that price tag. Let's take a look at some other quarterbacks here. Kirk Cousins against Cincy at 7,200. If you want to stack Cousins and Cook and Thielen and Jefferson, you know where the targets are going. Maybe you want a little Irv Smith in there. I'm okay with that. Joe Burrow against the Minnesota defense, 7,200. Let's give some time for the Cincinnati offense to get back. Let's see what Joe Burrow looks like week 1. Large field GPPs for me. Only for Joe Burrow. Ben Roethlisberger against Buffalo. No thank you. Baker against Kansas City. I don't mind at 7,100. Cam against Miami. No thank you. We don't even know if Cam Newton's going to be the starting quarterback for New England yet. Some beat writers think Mac Jones already won the job. I'm a Patriots fan, and I think Belichick is sticking with Cam through week 4. Cam is going to be the starting quarterback for the Patriots until Brady comes to town with the Bucs, and once that game is over, we'll see where this team is at. If they're 2-2 or 1-3, Jones may get the start, but I think Belichick has been really adamant with Cam Newton being the starting quarterback, and that's his guy. Brought back specifically, yes, they drafted Mac Jones. I'm okay with it. But still, let's keep that in mind. Belichick has been talking up Newton as the starter. Beat writers think Jones has won the job. We need to keep an eye on this. The next situation we need to keep an eye on for starting quarterback is San Francisco. I talked about it a little bit at the beginning of this podcast. Jimmy Garoppolo right now is the presumed starter for San Francisco. If Trey Lance beats out Jimmy Garoppolo and is named the week 1 starter and is the unquestioned one, and Garoppolo is going to be the backup, Trey Lance is $6,300. DraftKings minimum price for quarterbacks is $6,000. Trey Lance is $6,300. I will be overweight on Trey Lance. I will be absolutely overweight on Trey Lance. Let's see. Teddy Bridgewater was named the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos against the Giants. I don't mind taking a flyer on that and some large field GPPs, better quarterback options. Winston was named the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. He's not throwing to anybody. No thank you. There's no one there. Tyrod Taylor against Jacksonville, 6,800. I have interest in that. Trevor Lawrence on the other side of that game at 6,800. Rookie quarterback debut against probably the worst defense in the entire NFL. I'm okay with that. Daniel Jones against Denver. No thank you. Tua against New England. Nope. We'll have our chances to play Tua this year, but large field GPPs only. Tua definitely has elite quarterback upside. Will he get it done against one of the top 2 defenses in the NFL? We'll soon find out, but not for me. Ryan Fitzpatrick against the Chargers. No thank you. Sam Darnold against the Jets, his old team, $6,500. Love that price tag for him. Zach Wilson on the other side of this game. Going against the Carolina defense, it's still a work in progress. Where it's FanDuel, I don't mind taking shots on Zach Wilson. If you want to do a Zach Wilson, Corey Davis stack, I'm okay with that. I think there are better spots. But I think that for large field GPP is definitely someone you want to keep in mind. Jared Goff against San Francisco, no thank you. Again, I'm very interested in Trey Lance at 6,300 if he's named the starter and is not going to split time or be a gadget player for week 1 at 6,300, Trey Lance is going to be overweight on him. Wouldn't lock button him. Too many good quarterbacks, too many spots. It's week 1. Keep in mind you have to hit ceiling. Trey Lance has a ceiling against a bottom 5 Detroit Lions defense. Running back time! He's back, folks! Christian McCaffrey, a.k.a. CMC, a.k.a. the number 1 running back in the NFL, a.k.a. the number 1 player in your season-long drafts that you draft with the 1-1. It's Christian McCaffrey. He's the surest thing at running back. He's $10,400. He's $1,000 more expensive than Dalvin Cook, who comes in at $9,400. Christian McCaffrey against the Jets' bottom 10 defense. Love this spot for him. Love the spot for Christian McCaffrey. If you want to play a one-off from Carolina, you want a game stack, this Christian McCaffrey. Fantastic, fantastic play. Again, you're not getting bonuses on FanDuel. You're looking for raw points. You're looking at the half point per reception. So if you think about it, let's just say, for example, I'm looking at a CMC versus a Dalvin Cook. Both guys can catch the ball, right? Maybe I got a better one. CMC versus Derrick Henry. Henry's versus the Arizona Cardinals, and Christian McCaffrey versus the Jets. Look, if Derrick Henry scores 3 touchdowns, Christian McCaffrey gets 1 rushing touchdown, 2 receiving touchdowns, but let's say he gets 100 receiving yards. You're not getting a bonus, and you're getting half a point per reception. You're not getting a bonus out of him. So maybe you want to slightly lean towards more of the higher upside touchdown potential rushing yard play of a Derrick Henry versus a PPR machine like Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey, we know, is going to be a ground and pound guy and is going to be a reception guy. He's going to be used in both heavily. But maybe you focus and save some salary. You go to a guy like Derrick Henry, try to hit that high upside with Derrick Henry, or a guy like Nick Chubb. 2 bruiser running backs. I'm okay with that too. Now, let's keep in mind Dalvin Cook against the Cincinnati defense. I love that play. I'd have McCaffrey, Cook, and Henry all in my player pool. I'm not grouping them. I'm not setting him at like 0 to 1. I think all these guys are perfectly viable. Alvin Kamara against the Green Bay defense. He's going to get pure volume, right? I mean, it's Jameis Winston, Alvin Kamara, Marquez Callaway. That might be it for week 1 of people that you may or may not know. No Michael Thomas. We don't know if Trey Smith is going to be back. We don't know if Adam Troutman is going to start week 1. We don't know if Nick Vanette's going to start week 1. So that's the number 1 wide receiver, the number 2 wide receiver that's out, the number 1 tight end, the number 2 tight end that may be out. Kamara might just get force-fed the ball. He could get 20, 25 touches and maybe 5 to 10 balls. And again, might be more of a higher play on DraftKings, but my goodness, 8,600 for him on FanDuel. Let's put him right up there with it. Saquon Barkley against Denver, fade. I have no interest in Saquon Barkley. 8,500, I have no interest in Saquon Barkley at all in season long. Pure fade for me. Jonathan Taylor against the Seattle Seahawks. Need to see what the offensive line situation and the quarterback situation is in there. 7,900 is okay. Chubb against Kansas City. I may be passing at 7,700, but I don't mind it. Aaron Jones against New Orleans, no. Large field GP, sure. Joe Mixon against Minnesota, not really. Gibson against the Chargers. We're going to have our chances to play Gibson. I don't think it's against the Chargers. With Austin Eckler right underneath him at 6,900 volume play. We're going to have our chances to smash on Eckler. I do not know if it's going to be against that amazing Washington defensive line. Clyde Edwards-Helaire versus Cleveland. No, thank you. I don't want to go up against... We don't even know if he's going to play yet. He's questionable with an ankle injury. Chris Carson against Indy. No. Miles Sanders against Atlanta. I want to see what the depth chart is for Philly. So be checking back on that. Najee Harris against Buffalo. No. DeAndre Swift right now questionable with a groin injury against San Francisco. No. Mike Davis. Okay, let's talk about Mike Davis for a second. There's no running back behind this man. He is the unquestioned starter. He's going against the Philly front seven. I respect that Philly front seven. Mike Davis is a volume guy at 6,200, someone we absolutely have to take a look at on the slate. Raheem Mostert at 6,100 against Detroit. Again, this is another situation where we need to see about injuries. Mostert was, I think, injured. Trey Sermon's injured. We got to see how that backfield's going to shape out. I don't mind including some Mostert in my roster. Could be sub 10% owned. See if there's anyone else here I like. James Robinson, now the unquestioned starter. Unfortunately, Travis Etienne is done for the season, most likely. He had foot surgery, so James Robinson is now the starting running back against Houston. $5,900. I think he's going to be a play we really want to tackle here on FanDuel specifically, so keep him in mind. Damian Harris against Miami, no. David Johnson against Jacksonville, probably more on DraftKings. I don't know how that Houston backfield's going to shape out yet. Javonte Williams against the Giants, and Melvin Gordon against the Giants. If this backfield is going to be a committee, I want no part of either. Javonte Williams, I think, eventually wins the job. I don't think it's going to take that long. Again, early first look podcast here. We'll have more information heading in to week 1. But I would be interested in Gordon. I'd be interested in Javonte. Javonte more than Gordon against the Giants. Michael Carter against Carolina. If he's going to be the starter, yes. If Tevin Coleman's named the starter and is going to get, first and second down workload, then maybe some interest in Coleman. But I think Carter will eventually emerge in that backfield as the unquestioned number 1. Trey Sermon, like I talked about earlier, $5,200. Salvon Ahmed. Keep that name in mind. I have no interest against New England, but keep that in mind. They're going to probably go running back by committee. I'm out on Gaskin now for season long. Jamal Williams at $4,900. Probably not someone I'm playing on FanDuel. But if DeAndre Swift is out week 1 and Jamal Williams is going to be getting force-fed the ball on DraftKings, we know Jamal Williams more of a passing down guy. Yes, please. Maybe we'll play on DraftKings and FanDuel, but I don't mind taking a chance on it. Again, you're not getting any bonuses here on FanDuel, so I don't know how much upside Jamal Williams is going to have outside of pure volume. I don't really see anyone else sticking out. I want you all to keep your eyes on Ramondre Stevenson for season long as well. I think he has a really good chance. He has a really good chance to emerge as the 1 by the end of the season for New England. So just keep an eye on Ramondre Stevenson as well. Let's head over to the wide receivers. So many guys to talk about here. All right, so let's head over here to the wide receivers. Devontae Adams against New Orleans. He's matchup proof. Still going to probably get some Lattimore shadow coverage. Don't know if it's somewhere I want to go. If you want to go Rodgers and Adams and you want to run it back with like a Marquez Callaway, I'm okay with that. You want to run it back with a Kamara, I'm okay with that. Tyreek Hill against Cleveland, he can easily take advantage of Denzel Ward. I'm okay with that at $8,500 if you want to play Tyreek Hill as a one-off. Calvin Ridley, hello, $8,100 against a terrible Philly secondary. What should still be a terrible Philly which should still be a terrible Philly secondary. I like Calvin Ridley a lot in this matchup, so I don't mind some Ridley. Don't mind some Ryan to Ridley. We'll get to Kyle Pitts in a little bit. DeAndre Hopkins against Tennessee. Yes, if you're playing Kyler, I might just stack Kyler and Hopkins. And, maybe some Chase Edmonds, which I don't know if I'd do that, but maybe we go with some Kirk. Maybe just go 1-2 and see how this shakes out. We don't know. The wide receiver room right now for Arizona is very interesting. It's Hopkins 1, Kirk 2, Green 3, Rondell Moore 4. All wide receivers are going to be used in that offense. But Hopkins is going to get force-fed, so I don't mind that there. If you want to run it back with like an A.J. Brown on the other side, I'm okay with that. Let's take a look at Justin Jefferson here against Cincinnati. He's questionable with the shoulder. He's got an AC joint injury. Keep an eye out on that. $8,000, like that price tag for him. Stephon Diggs against Pittsburgh. I think Pitt and Buffalo are going to be a low-scoring game. I can see Diggs having 1 or 2 touchdowns here, so I don't mind keeping an eye on him, but he's questionable with a knee. A.J. Brown also questionable with a knee. Let's take a look. He's 7,800 against Arizona. Like I said, I love that price tag for him. Metcalf against the Colts, I don't mind. Keenan Allen against Washington, I don't mind. Thielen against Cincinnati is questionable right now with a thigh. Julio Jones is questionable, undisclosed. I don't mind either one of those players. Terry McLaurin, F1 against the Chargers. $6,900. I think is someone to keep in mind. Again, so we're looking for more ceiling here on FanDuel. Almost on DraftKings. Again, like I told you, I'm a DraftKings player, primarily. I don't mind McLaurin. I don't know how his ceiling is going to be here. Lockett against Indy. More against the Jets. I'm more of a Robbie Anderson fan, and Robbie Anderson on this slate is $6,200 versus DJ Moore at $6,700. It's a $500 difference. I prefer Anderson to Moore. I also prefer Anderson to Moore season long. So I think what we're going to get here is we need to see how this shapes out. We need to see what the snap count's going to... Well, not the snap count. We need to see what the target's going to be with Sam Darnold. He already has a connection with Robbie Anderson from the days with the Jets. Doesn't have that yet with DJ Moore. Yes, they have an offseason. DJ Moore just really hasn't lived up to the hype yet of where he was drafted. Let's take a look this season and see what we can get out of DJ Moore. Wide receiver Deontay Johnson, someone I'm high on in season long against Buffalo. If I had to take a guess right now, Johnson 1, Claypool 2, and Juju 3. If I had to guess, Deontay's going to be given Tre'Davious White shadow coverage. I think it's Claypool is who I'm interested in. We can take a look real quick at the Buffalo Bills wide receiver depth chart. I meant cornerback depth chart. We're going to get the same anyway. So the starting cornerbacks here, Tre'Davious White and Levi Wallace. We got Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. I think I'm more interested in Claypool for this game if I'm targeting anyone from the Steelers, honestly. So I would definitely have interest here in Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool comes in at $6,000. Deontay is $6,600, so a $600 difference. I'd rather take the chance on Chase Claypool for week 1. I like Deontay long term, but Tre'Davious White shadow coverage, no thank you. Brandon Ayuk against Detroit. If he is a full go, Brandon Ayuk is someone I love on this slate. Brandon Ayuk is someone I'm high on for season long. Brandon Ayuk at $6,500, someone I like here on this slate. And Juju is $6,400. So Chase Claypool, if you're playing any Pittsburgh wide receiver, is the cheapest of the main 3 wide receivers. Again, Robbie Anderson comes in at $6,200. I don't know what to do with Brandon Cooks against Jacksonville. It's a good spot. Jacksonville's defense isn't exactly the greatest. I'm not saying they're the worst. Brandon Cooks with Tyrod Taylor is a fine cheap stack. It's week 1. Embrace the variance, ladies and gentlemen. Deebo Samuel against Detroit. I don't mind that at all. Again, I prefer Ayuk to Samuel, but they're a $200 difference apart. Ayuk at $65 and Deebo at $63. Devontae Parker against New England. I have no interest in anyone in Miami. If they could put up 14 points against the Patriots at home in Foxborough, on the road at Foxborough, yeah, that'll be impressive. Like I said, but if you were to tell me that Parker's got a touchdown and we have no Will Fuller for this game, so if Parker has 1 or 2 touchdowns and maybe an Albert Wilson has a touchdown or a Tua runs one in for a touchdown and they beat the Patriots, if Tua has a ceiling game, it's week 1. I'm going to go. It's week 1. Embrace the variance. Move on. Next week. So, you got to take your stance. It's week 1. We're not going to have data on these guys through week 4. So, for me, and when you get a chance to read my articles here at Main Event DFS, I'm going to have a stardom or fadem. Or I'm going to call them as my stardom or situm columns, and I'm going to tell you basically who I like, who I don't like. And those will be coming out here on a weekly basis here at Main Event DFS. You'll be able to check them out on our Discord. And one thing I want everyone to keep in mind is I am going to pretty much use 2020 stats from last season until we're through week 4. unless there's something that just sticks out to me, either in the games or stat-wise, for 2021. Sample size of 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks isn't enough. I want to see a 4-week sample size. I want to see snap counts. I want to see who's being targeted, why they're being targeted, was it a shadow coverage situation. We need to take a look at more variables. And to take a look at more variables, what we have to do is we need a decent sample size. So for me, I like after week 4 as a sample size of 2021, then we'll start using that data, maybe sprinkling in some 2020, but by then, who knows what's going to happen by the end of week 4. So please keep that in mind. That we don't have any data on this year. Everything is wide open right now. If you like guys and you really like a team and you think they're going to crush, then play those plays. Don't let anyone talk you off the plays that you have a strong conviction about playing. So play the plays you want to play. If you like some plays that I say or another analyst says or whoever, you got to make up your own minds on what you want to do. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you have a strong conviction play about someone, like if you have a strong conviction play that a Tua and Parker stack is going to go unowned and they could combine for a heavy game, fine, do that. If you think it's going to be Sam Darnold plus Christian McCaffrey plus DJ Moore and you run it back with the Corey Davis, go for it. Sorry about that. My headset shut off on me. Anyway, it's like I said, if you want to go with a Sam Darnold plus Christian McCaffrey plus DJ Moore and you want to run it back on a Corey Davis or an Elijah Moore or whoever, stick with your conviction plays. It's what you need to do. I highly encourage it. Stick with those conviction plays. Don't get off of it just for the sake of you heard it from someone else. You do your research, you put in the time. If you feel strongly about somebody, play that player. With that being said, let's move on to the aforementioned Chase Claypool, $6,000. Like I said, the player that I would play if any of the three Pittsburgh wide receivers. DJ Shark, fade. Don't touch, don't play. Urban Meyer, in my opinion, doesn't like him. May not think as highly of him as the last regime did. I want no part of DJ Shark this year in season long, no part of him right now in DFS. Against Houston, can he do good? Yes. There's a Jacksonville wide receiver we're going to get to as soon as I see his price tag for it. Where's Laviska Shenault? $5,600. That's the player from Jacksonville I want. I want Laviska Shenault. That's the player I want to target. But let's keep going down. The aforementioned Corey Davis, $5,800. Love that price tag for him. Zach Wilson is targeting this guy in the preseason. Love Corey Davis in the spot against Carolina. Let's talk about the Cincinnati wide receivers. T. Higgins is at $6,000. Tyler Boyd at $5,900. Where is Jamar Chase? $5,500. T. Higgins is the one I'm interested in. Absolutely be taking some chances at T. Higgins at $6,000. Chase should end up being the default too, but I think reports out of camp is he hasn't had that good of a camp. And this week apparently he's had better reports. It's up and down. So keep an eye on the camp reports. Where he's at in the depth chart. We already know he has that connection with Joe Burrow from their LSU days. Keep an eye on camp reports. Keep an eye on the news status. Again, this is an early first look podcast. I'm recording this almost 2 weeks prior to the start of week 1. That Thursday night football game. Let's keep in mind we still have a lot of data to gather. A lot of things can still go different on the depth chart. T. Higgins is who I'm targeting this year for Cincinnati. And I was high on Chase. I was high on Jamar Chase in the offseason. And I've cooled on him significantly and rose on T. Higgins. T. Higgins absolutely someone I want to target. I don't mind Tyler Boyd. I don't mind Jamar Chase. Look, it's DFS. Who I think has a higher touchdown upside? Probably Jamar Chase. But if you were to tell me T. Higgins goes for 100 plus and 2 touchdowns, yeah, you want him on your roster. If you would tell me Jamar Chase gets 50 to 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, that's not going to surprise me either. Tyler Boyd could break off one for a touchdown. Minnesota secondary it's okay. So Jamison Crowder, I got no interest in. Cortland Sutton, we need to see what's going to happen with his status. Is he playing? Is questionable right now from that knee injury from last year. Someone I have interest in this year, and on the slate, 5,800. I also get interest in Judy, who looks like he's going to be the one. For Teddy Bridgewater, maybe 5,500. I have interest in Judy, then Sutton. I don't mind if you play Sutton first, though. Mike Williams, questionable with a hip. Against Washington, 5,700. I like that price tag. Marvin Jones Jr., 5,800. I like that price tag. Will Fuller is not playing. He's serving the final game of his suspension. Russell Gage against Philly, 5,700. I'm okay with that price tag. Nelson Aguilar against Miami, 5,600. I'm okay with that price tag. Again, we need to see who the starting quarterback is for New England. Brashard Perryman should be the default one for Detroit, and Jared Goff, 5,600. I'm okay with that. Alan Lazard against New Orleans, 5,600. I'm okay with that. T.Y. Hilton, $5,600 against Seattle. I'm okay with that. Curtis Samuel right now questionable with a groin injury. Against the Chargers. I almost said the Clippers. Sorry. Basketball mode. LAC. Sorry. I don't mind Curtis Samuel against the Chargers. I don't mind Sterling Shepard against Denver. Since it's not at Denver, but still it's more of a long shot play, but volume play for Sterling Shepard in my opinion. I don't mind Jacoby Myers. We do not know if Traquan Smith is going to play. I don't want any part of Cole Beasley. Even at $5,500, that's fine. Jalen Reagor, $5,400. Let's see what goes on there. I don't mind taking shots on Reagor. I don't mind taking shots on Harbin at $5,400. Tyrell at $5,400. But he's questionable right now with a groin injury. AJ Green for the Cardinals, $5,400. Randall Cobb back in Green Bay at $5,400. No, thank you. Devonta Smith, rookie wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles, $5,300 against Atlanta. Yes, I have interest in him. You want to go Hurts with a Smith stack. I like that a lot. Hurts, Smith, Reagor, Hurts, Sanders, Smith. That's fine with me. Michael Pittman Jr., $5,300 for the Colts against Seattle. I'm okay with that. Deontay Harris for New Orleans. I got Green Bay at home versus the Packers. Maybe. Again, we need to see how that wide receiver depth chart breaks out for Week 1. Anthony Miller right now, questionable with a shoulder for Jacksonville. They're being traded there. Jalen Waddle, no, we'll have our chances to play him. I don't mind if you want to take a chance on a one-off Waddle at $5,200. Marquez Callaway, $5,200. He's going to be chalk just because he's probably going to come out as the number one default wide receiver for New Orleans. Just keep that in mind. He may end up being chalk on this slate, on both slates for that matter, for DraftKings and FanDuel or Yahoo, wherever you're playing. He's probably going to be chalk. Jarvis Fulgham against Atlanta. Again, we need to see how that depth chart checks out. Humphreys for Washington is a name to keep an eye on. Fitzpatrick has been favoring this kid in the preseason against the Chargers, not the Clippers, $4,900. I don't mind taking a chance on him, but probably more of a DraftKings play than a FanDuel play. Rondell Moore. We'll have our chance to play Rondell Moore. You want to take your chances Week 1 against the Tennessee secondary. I'm okay with that at $4,900. Terrence Marshall Jr., same thing. We'll have our chances to play him. I don't think this is the week, but if you want to play him at $4,900 against the Jets, I'm okay with that as well. And that should be pretty much it. Dynemi Brown, keep that name in the back of your minds for Dynasty Leagues. Byron Pringle. Oh, I want to play you, but $4,700. Not the week to do it. Maybe. We will see. I don't mind taking some chances on Byron Pringle at $4,700 either. I just don't know what the snap count is going to be for him. If he's going to see any workload against Cleveland. Just keep that in mind as well. Again, let's see how the wide receiver depth chart shakes out in Kansas City. On to the tight ends. And let's just point out that Travis Kelce is the second highest priced receiver on this slate. He's tied with Tyreek Hill at $500. Adams $8,600. Travis Kelce $500. Tyreek Hill $500. It's Cleveland. I have respect for their defense. With that being said, I don't mind if you want to play him. Just know it's going to be an expensive stack if you want to go Mahomes. If you want to go Mahomes, Hill, Kelsey, that leaves you about $5,700 each per player. Now, we have value on the slate. More than happy to do that. You're capturing a lot of the touchdown equity here. But I don't know if I'd go with Kelsey, honestly. I like Kittle for $1,500 cheaper against Detroit. I like Kyle Pitts making his rookie debut at $6,000 for Atlanta. Goddard, gotta keep in mind what's going on with this team. I don't mind taking chances on Goddard and or Ertz. I need to see who's going to be the presumptive starter. If they're both splitting time, good luck figuring out which one to play. Hopefully we'll have more information as the weeks progress here through the preseason and into week 1. TJ Hawkinson, 5,700, I'm okay with. It's questionable with a shoulder, again, another AC joint. So we need to keep in mind, see if Hawkinson plays. So Logan Thomas against the Chargers, no thank you. Mike Gesicki against New England, no. Fant questionable with a leg against the Giant. If he plays, I got some interest. Tanyan against the Saints, no. But again, you look at a touchdown upset here on FanDuel. We know Tanyan was a touchdown machine last year. You want to play him as your third from Green Bay. I have no problem with that. Irv Smith against Cincinnati. Need to see how he's used. $5,300 for Irv Smith. I like that price tag as well. Ebron at Buffalo, no. Henry at home versus Miami, no. Need to see how that's going to shake out in New England. Is it Henry? Is it Smith? Is it a two-headed beast there? Are they going to eat into each other's production? We will see. Cook versus Washington, no. I'm trying to keep my tight end pool pretty small this year. Troutman, if he plays versus Green Bay, I'm taking a chance on at $4,600. Fryermuth, Butts Buffalo, no. So yeah, for me, my tight ends right now I would look at is Kelsey, Kittle, Pitts, Fant, maybe Goddard, maybe Hawkinson, Tanyan, maybe Cook. We'll keep an eye on that for sure. Defenses, plug a defense. Cheap ones that I don't mind playing, large field GPPs, the Browns, Pats, Niners. You know, defense is something you can fill in. That is going to do it for this edition here. For this podcast here, it's again the early first look podcast for FanDuel Week 1 NFL. If you have any questions, you can find me on Twitter at AdamWX21. You can find me in the Main Event DFS Discord at AdamWX21 over there as well. Any questions? Reach out to me on Twitter or on the Main Event DFS Discord, and we'll catch you all later with more DFS NFL DFS content, and I will be doing a special season-long fantasy football content video. I'll be doing a mock draft and going over some of my strategy as well. That'll be coming out hopefully sometime soon. For now, check that back for that video in a couple days. But for now, latest peoples.